I'm Tony Jaa from Thailand and play Deja. This is really important for me. I can inspire from the Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee.
Tony Jaa was once celebrated as the savior of martial arts cinema. He didn't just arrive, he exploded onto the scene with raw strength, jaw-dropping stunts, and fights so intense they left audiences speechless. He wasn't merely a fighter, he was an action phenomenon, a man who treated gravity as more of a suggestion than a rule. And then, just as suddenly, everything changed. At the height of his meteoric rise, he disappeared. The seemingly unstoppable force stepped away, leaving behind a trail of questions. Was it the pressure of fame? A betrayal from the industry? A deeply personal choice? His career, once destined for Hollywood stardom, veered in an unexpected direction. What truly happened to Tony Jaa, the legend who could defy physics but not fate? The answer is more heartbreaking than you might expect. Stay with this story, because it may forever change the way you see him. Born as Tachakorn Yiram, Tony Jaa came from humble beginnings in the rural province of Surin, Thailand, where farming and tradition shaped daily life. His parents, Rinsapech and Thandi Yiram, were rice farmers who instilled in him the importance of hard work and persistence. But Tony dreamed far beyond the rice paddies. As a child, he became fascinated by martial arts legends he saw at temple fairs: Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, and Jet Li. Their power, movement, and storytelling sparked a passion in him. He didn't just want to watch them, he wanted to become them. Unlike many kids who admired action stars from afar, Tony trained himself to replicate their moves. He practiced endlessly in the fields, perfecting kicks, punches, and flips until they felt natural. For Tony, martial arts wasn't just fighting, it was a form of artistic expression rooted in discipline and precision. His formal training began when he was 10, studying Muay Thai at a local temple under traditional masters. Without access to modern facilities, he relied solely on his drive and commitment, building the strength and technique that would shape his future career. As he matured, Tony entered local Muay Thai competitions and gained recognition in his community. But he wasn't interested in the usual path of a fighter. Instead, he saw an opportunity to blend his martial arts skill with cinema, just like his heroes had done. His break came when he caught the attention of Punna Rittakrai, a legendary stunt coordinator and director. Punna invited Tony to join his stunt team, recognizing his raw, natural talent and fierce determination. It was a life-changing moment for Tony. Determined to prove himself, Tony spent the next 14 years as a stuntman, taking on risky, grueling work with little praise or recognition. He performed dangerous stunts, even standing in for big-name actors and riding elephants in commercials. Each stunt tested his limits, but he embraced the challenge, refining his craft as he prepared for something bigger. His experience wasn't just physical, it was a crash course in filmmaking. Under Punna's mentorship, he trained in various martial arts styles like Muay Thai, Taekwondo, Judo, and Aikido. He also learned the art of translating real action to the screen. Tony had been preparing for cinematic performance since childhood, unlike many martial artists who try to break into film later. He mastered the delicate balance between authenticity and dramatic choreography. His fearless attitude toward dangerous stunts, done without wires or CGI, set him apart. It made him a rare and powerful presence in the industry. And finally, after years of pushing the limits behind the scenes, Tony Jaa stepped into the spotlight. When his moment arrived, it was explosive. The release of Ong-Bak, Muay Thai Warrior in 2003 marked a massive turning point in Tony's career. Virtually unknown before, he became an international martial arts icon overnight. The film was a revelation. Tony did all his own stunts, with no CGI, no wires, and no body doubles. His wild acrobatics, lightning-fast strikes, and brutal elbow and knee attacks stunned audiences across the globe. Ong-Bak delivered raw, high-impact energy and completely redefined martial arts cinema, earning Tony widespread acclaim. No longer just a skilled fighter or stuntman, he had become a leading force in a new generation of action stars. Following Ong-Bak's success, Tony solidified his fame with Tom Yum Goong, released in the US as The Protector in 2005. He went even further this time, introducing a distinctive Muay Thai style inspired by elephant movements. One of the film's most unforgettable scenes. The jaw-dropping, 4-minute, single-take fight scene through a restaurant quickly became iconic among martial arts fans. It was a bold showcase of Tony Jaa's physical strength and endurance, proving his ability to carry an intense action sequence without a single cut. This performance set a new standard in action filmmaking and even inspired seasoned stars like Donnie Yen, who later admitted Tony's work challenged him to elevate his own fight choreography. As his fame spread worldwide, comparisons to martial arts greats like Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, and Jet Li became inevitable. Many saw Tony as the next major action icon, capable of ushering in a new era for martial arts cinema. His raw, explosive style, rooted in traditional Muay Thai, offered a gritty realism that stood in stark contrast to the wire-assisted, stylized fights popular in Hong Kong films. Hollywood began to take notice. Directors and producers were eager to work with Tony, and even Jackie Chan acknowledged his incredible talent, wanting to bring him on board for Rush Hour 3. Unfortunately, due to scheduling conflicts with Ong-Bak 2, Tony had to pass up the opportunity that could have opened major doors in Western cinema. At the peak of his success, Tony's career seemed unstoppable, but behind the scenes, problems were building. His relationship with Punna Ridikrai, his mentor and the man who discovered and trained him, started to unravel. Creative disagreements caused friction between them and began to impact their collaborations. One major casualty of this fallout was the cancellation of a highly anticipated film called Sword. While neither Tony nor Punna publicly addressed their split, the tension was noticeable, and it marked a significant turning point in Tony's career. For someone whose rise had been built alongside his mentor, the rift was deeply consequential. At the same time, Tony found himself increasingly restricted by his long-standing contract with Sahamancal Film, the Thai studio that had managed his career from the start. The company controlled nearly every aspect of his professional life, his roles, his schedule, and even his earnings. Despite the fame brought by Ong-Bak and Tom Yum Goong, Tony saw little of the financial or creative rewards. These tight restrictions limited his ability to pursue international opportunities, even as Hollywood expressed interest. The pressure continued to mount. On top of acting in Ong-Bak 2, Tony was tasked with directing the film as well, an enormous responsibility that quickly became overwhelming. Production soon spiraled out of control. Reports surfaced that Tony had vanished from the set for weeks, sparking rumors of a breakdown. But the truth was deeper. Burned out and feeling cornered, Tony sought refuge in a Buddhist monastery, taking a break from the chaos of the film world to find inner peace. His sudden departure created chaos for the studio, delaying production and worsening tensions. Even after returning, he remained trapped under his contract with Sahamancal Film. In 2013, he made a bold attempt to break free and pursue more global roles. However, the studio fought back, demanding $50 million to release him, particularly after he was approached for a role in Fast and Furious 7. Caught in a legal and financial mess, Tony was stuck. Although he eventually found roles in Western films, the damage had been done. His momentum was gone, and he was never quite able to regain the same level of stardom that had once made him a global sensation. With the pressure mounting and his career stalling, Tony made a decision that stunned fans and insiders alike. He walked away from it all. At the height of his fame, Tony Jaa shocked everyone by disappearing from the public eye and ordaining as a Buddhist monk. In 2010, following years of intense physical strain, career pressure, and conflict with his studio, he left the film industry to live a quiet life at a temple. The man known for his powerful, high-flying stunts had now traded fight scenes for meditation and spiritual discipline. His decision led to widespread speculation. Some thought he had suffered a breakdown, while others believed he was trying to escape his restrictive contract. In Thailand, however, it's not unusual for men to temporarily become monks. Many do so to gain clarity or honor their families. For Tony, this move appeared to be both spiritual and personal, a much-needed reset after years of being tightly controlled by the industry. He embraced the monastic life fully, living simply, meditating daily, and following Buddhist teachings. Though he never openly linked his ordination to the struggles in his career, many believe the two were closely connected. The peace and freedom he found at the temple stood in stark contrast to the chaos of his career. His absence left a noticeable gap in martial arts cinema. Fans were eager for his return and speculated endlessly about his future. Some were convinced he had retired for good, while others believed he was preparing for a comeback. Meanwhile, the Thai film industry moved forward, and the buzz he had created with Ong-Bak and Tom Yum-Goong slowly faded. Major Hollywood roles slipped away, and other stars like Donnie Yen and Iko Uwais began to rise in his place. The action genre had undergone significant changes, and Tony's time away from the spotlight put him at risk of being left behind. After spending a long period reflecting on his life, he felt ready to return to the film industry. However, the environment he returned to had changed dramatically. The dominant force his star power once was had noticeably diminished. Though his return was met with excitement, the film industry had evolved, and so had the path of his career. His years spent living as a monk brought him inner peace, but they also cost him precious time in the fast-paced world of show business. Getting back into action films wasn't as simple as many had hoped. While Tony made his return, he never quite regained the legendary status he once held at the peak of his fame. By the time he stepped back into the industry, Hollywood had already taken notice. His groundbreaking performances in Ong-Bak and Tom Yum-Goong had caught the eye of international filmmakers, who were eager to showcase his distinct martial arts style to a broader audience. Hollywood producers saw in Tony the potential to become the next big martial arts star, possibly even following the paths carved by Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, and Jet Li. His first major break in Hollywood came with Fast and Furious 7 in 2015, sharing the screen with Vin Diesel and Paul Walker. It was a major project and introduced him to Western audiences, but despite the buzz around his role, his part in the movie was relatively minor. He had some memorable fight scenes, especially with Paul Walker, but fans quickly realized the film didn't make full use of his talents. He followed this with XXX, Return of Xander Cage in 2017, joining an ensemble cast that included names like Vin Diesel and Donnie Yen. There was hope this would mark a turning point, but like his previous outing, Tony was once again pushed into a secondary role. The action was highly stylized, lacking the raw, wire-free choreography that had made him famous. Fans felt Hollywood failed to understand how to present his skills properly. Instead of being center stage, Tony was placed in supporting roles where he was often outshined by other stars. Unlike Jackie Chan and Jet Li, Tony's move to Hollywood was far from smooth. One of his biggest obstacles was the language barrier. While he had spent years perfecting his physical performance, acting in English presented an entirely new challenge. By 2014, he was able to give interviews in English, but many believed his limited fluency restricted the kinds of roles he could take. Hollywood heroes are often expected to be fast-talking and charismatic, qualities Tony didn't naturally embody. Jackie Chan leveraged humor and found a unique voice in Hollywood, while Jet Li took on roles that matched his serious, stoic presence. Tony, however, was often given characters with minimal dialogue, relying solely on his physicality to leave an impression. Another major factor that hurt his Hollywood journey was a long-running conflict with Saha Mongkol Film, his Thai production company. The studio held him under contract for years, and although he eventually broke free in 2013, it came at a steep cost. They tried to block him from taking a role in Fast and Furious 7 and even demanded $50 million in damages. The legal battle left Tony unable to work in Thai films, cutting him off from the very industry that had made him a star. He continued acting in movies like Skin Trade, Never Back Down, No Surrender, and Triple Threat, but none of them reached the critical or commercial heights of Ong-Bak. Although he gained international exposure, Hollywood offered him little creative control and no leading roles that could cement his place as a global martial arts icon. Even with Hollywood knocking, the spark that once defined Tony Jaa's career began to dim. Fans were left questioning what went wrong and wondering what might have been. Still, Tony Jaa's contribution to martial arts cinema is beyond dispute. The release of Ong-Bak was a turning point in action filmmaking, raising the standards for realistic stunts and influencing fight choreography around the world. His explosive, gritty style, deeply rooted in traditional Muay Thai, brought something fresh and powerful to global audiences. Tony Jaa brought a more intense and brutal style of combat to the screen. Even seasoned veterans like Donnie Yen acknowledged that Tony's arrival pushed them to elevate their own action choreography. His raw, wire-free fighting style set him apart in a genre that was starting to feel overly dependent on special effects and elaborately choreographed, dance-like battles. At one point, Tony was seen as the natural successor to Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan, with many expecting him to lead martial arts cinema into a new age. But his rise to fame was as rapid as his decline. Conflicts with Saha Film, the immense pressure of directing Ong-Bak 2, and a temporary retreat to a monastery all contributed to slowing down his momentum. The studio's strict control over his contracts blocked him from fully leveraging his popularity at its height. By the time he finally broke free in 2013, the industry had largely moved on. Although he made his way into Hollywood, he never enjoyed the same level of creative authority that Bruce Lee had in Hong Kong or Jackie Chan had in the US. Unlike those legends, Tony couldn't mold his own stories, he acted in the visions of others instead of shaping a cinematic identity that was his own. And while none of his martial arts predecessors were known for deep characters, Tony's roles lacked emotional depth in a different way. Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan each created memorable alter egos that went beyond the action and resonated culturally, but Tony's characters often felt like a backdrop for the fight scenes. In Ong-Bak, one of his most quoted lines was simply his name and hometown. Tom Yum Goong revolved entirely around his quest to retrieve a stolen elephant. Whereas Bruce Lee explored the philosophy of why someone fights, Tony focused more on the physicality and extreme intensity, rather than emotional impact. This lack of narrative substance made it harder for Tony to connect with audiences beyond his martial arts prowess, which created challenges when trying to branch into different types of roles. Despite these limitations, Tony Jaa's impact on action cinema remains significant. His fight scenes continue to be studied, his stunt choreography still inspires, and his name endures as one of the most iconic martial artists in film. Yet, there will always be a lingering question: if Tony had been given more creative freedom early on, could he have truly filled the shoes of Bruce Lee? Could Hollywood have cultivated his unique skill set into making him the next great action figure? That's something we may never know. What is certain, though, is that while Tony Jaa didn't follow the path fans expected, his mark on martial arts cinema is permanent. What's your take? Did Tony Jaa get the recognition he deserved, or did he find a different kind of success? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you liked this deep dive, don't forget to hit that like button, and if you're a fan of martial arts and action movies, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any content. Stick around, our next video dives into another unbelievable story about a martial arts legend. You won't believe what happened to this icon.